Welcome, fellow goofballs, to another bonus edition here of Two Giant Goofballs. We have more news to talk about. This, as we talked about in our last video, this is cut day. The Giants had to get their roster down to 53 as of 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's now 5 o'clock. Now, the Giants have not released a full, here we go, here's who's on the roster. So some of this is conjecture. I'll tell you that, guys, up front. But we do have a list of people we do know are cut. And we do also have a list, courtesy of Pat Leonard, the Giants beat writer, of people that he did and did not see at the practice there today, which is a good sign of whether or not they are or not going to be on the roster here, at least for the time being. You know, if you're at practice, obviously you're still with the team. And if you're not, there's not saying it's definite, but it's a good chance that's probably what happened there. So let's get into ones we know first off that are definite. So first off, our favorite, Dante Turbo Miller, that you guys know that me and Rob have a special place in our heart for there because of the story with this guy here. You know, amazing backstory here, coming from a lot of adversity in his childhood, making it to an amazing school where, you know, not only did he get to be a good player, but he got a great education, has some eligibility concerns with the NCAA, not a issue with him personality wise or anything like that, just some confusion over the rules, and hasn't played in a while. He's a beast at South Carolina's pro day, and all of a sudden gets signed by the Giants there. Looked great in preseason, by the way, guys. Like, honestly, I thought he looked great in preseason, especially for a guy who hadn't played in almost 2 years there. If you look at the national stats for across the NFL, he was actually one of the best running backs in preseason. Again, it's preseason. I know he wasn't facing the top talents, but I still think he's a guy with a lot of potential. If he is not on the practice squad, he better be on somebody else's team. I'm just saying that right now. Like, this is a guy that you can develop. So, like, if somebody doesn't pluck him and put him on their active roster, the Giants better sure as hell do whatever it takes to get this kid in the practice squad. I still think big things are coming for this kid. Again, I'm not saying big things like Pro Bowl or crazy stuff. I think he's going to have a career in this league, though. I really do. I think he's that good. He's got athletic abilities that you just can't teach. You know, if he had gone to the combine, he would have been the best combine workout guy in this entire draft. Again, wasn't there eligibility issues and all that kind of stuff there because of South Carolina apparently not knowing what they're doing, but that's where we're at. Another kind of shocker here, Allen Robinson the second there. So we talked about him in the last video. We thought that because of the fact that Isaiah Hodgins was cut, that we thought Allen Robinson would be on the team then. But no, he is not. The Giants are going young at receiver. They're point blank saying, if you're not anything special, and you're basically over the age of 26, 27, we don't want you, basically. We want to develop a young team of wide receivers that can be hopefully something dominant in this league there. And obviously led by our first-round pick there with Malik Neighbors, who really can be a dominant receiver potentially in this league. But Robinson's a former Pro Bowler. I thought he might keep around just to have a veteran presence in that room there. They really don't have that now. He's just trying to extend his career at this point there, be a part-time player for a team, and somebody else will probably sign him and take him on for that exact role, but the Giants just don't seem interested there. Another veteran wide receiver cut, Miles Boykin, who was a former Steeler and a really good special teamer. He was that guy that was kind of known to be much more of a special teamer than an actual wide receiver, but he did still, provide something at the wide receiver position there. So at this point, Giants are a no-go on that one there. So let's go into the people that we did or didn't hear about being at practice. And the majority of this list, I'm going to give the man credit because he's the one who posted it up on Twitter. Pat Leonard, who, let's be honest, is not the Giants fans' favorite beat writer, but he did right by us today, guys. He gave us a list of people he did or didn't see at practice. So here's the people he didn't see. Isaiah McKenzie, first off, former Bill, obviously from the Shane and Dable days over there in Buffalo, was thought to be a potential candidate to be the primary kick and punt returner for the Giants, but he's officially gone. David Long Jr., former Ram that was signed back in May, their corner, just didn't make it. Not a shocker there, guys. He didn't look that great. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time in the preseason or anything special that we saw there, so not a shocker there. Josh Miles, 7th-round pick of the Cardinals back in 2019, another offensive lineman there. Just, again, another guy you didn't really see things for. Kind of we thought it was a camp body coming in. That's what he was. He was a camp body. Defensive tackle Casey Rogers, undrafted rookie free agent from Oregon or Oregon, depending on what you say, tomato. But yeah, he's another guy that didn't think necessarily would make the roster at the beginning. I did think after seeing some moves made to that defensive line. Tiny, tiny, tiny chance, but not a shocker that he's caught. That cut there from the team, that's for sure. Guard Jalen Mayfield, who started for the Atlanta Falcons there back in 2021, also cut. Again, not a shocker there. Mario Goodrich is a guy we just picked up recently within the last month from the Eagles after they cut him. Spent most of the time with their practice squad, more of a slot corner kind of guy at that point. Might be a guy they put on their practice squad. We'll see there. And then one last guy that we did, Pat Leonard mentioned was not there at practice, which is the kicker from Rutgers, whose name I always mess up, guys. Fair warning. Jude Atamni, who's we thought some might be on the team permanently because of the fact that, not permanently, I should say, but at least for this season, because he's an international player. So there is international pathway stuff you can do where it doesn't affect your roster and stuff. So I got to look up the exact rules in that for you guys, because this is new news that just came down. We wanted to share with you guys as soon as it came down. But this is a guy that, again, we talked about it before, couldn't even hold down the starting kicking job at Rutgers. So I was kind of even shocked the Giants ever brought him in. So if they were able to keep him as basically a free spot in their roster at the international program, and they still didn't keep him, that just solidifies what we thought going into it. Rob and I both said, hey, this is a guy I'm kind of shocked is even down the roster. So, definitely good to see, though, a couple bubble players that you got to root for the little guy, the guy that worked his tail off and made the spot there. We got a couple bubble players there that did make the roster. We want to go over there with you guys, at least, or on the roster for now, I should say. Safety, Javarius Owens, who spent most of last season, obviously, on the practice squad. That was kind of a shocker to some people that he's still on the roster. But, guys, I don't know why we're shocked here. Who do we really have at safety right now? Like, just being honest, who do we have at safety? You got Newman, obviously the rookie second-round pick. Obviously, you got Pinnock, who was a starter last year, going to be a starter this year. You got Dane Belton, who's been on the roster the last couple of years as a backup. But who else do we got besides, it's not really, there's that many options there. So I'd be kind of shocked if Owens actually stays in the roster. He's a guy I think they'll probably cut and try to put on the practice squad later on. And I think they will scour that safety position to see if they can get somebody off the waivers here. Center, Austin Schlottman, who is a guy that, again, I think some people are kind of shocked on. I'm not. I mean, look at all the injuries that have happened now to John Michael Schmitz, the starting center. Schlottman has been a decent starting center for the Vikings when they've needed to put him there due to injuries. Their centers had back issues there. So, there's talks about, do you go ahead and put, Van Routen over at center? He's done that in training camp there, but you want a real center if something happens. So, not a shocker to me he's there. And he does play guard too as well. So he's not just a guy who plays only center. He's got some versatility. He's basically an interior offensive lineman is more the better way to word it there. Fan favorite, Bryce Ford Wheaton was also seen at practice today here. So, a young guy out of West Virginia that a lot of people had a lot of hope for. Like, I've never seen Giants fans so excited about getting a guy out of, the undrafted rookie free agents. Like, people thought this was the second coming of Victor Cruz for some reason we got him. I still don't think he's that. I'm glad for him. I like to see somebody who came back from injury because he was out his whole rookie year because of an injury and worked his way back and now has earned a roster spot there. But again, the biggest issue with him is his hands. He's got amazing, physical talent at that point, good speed, good route running, all that stuff. He drops the ball, guys, a lot. That was a big issue with him in West Virginia, where he did not dominate, to be clear. So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, my God, this kid's great. Now he's going to be amazing. I think the hope is you can develop him into a solid NFL player at that point. And listen, you got good hands or you don't. That's what it boils down to. So, we've seen his issue with Slayton, who looks like he finally got his hand issues together last year, had a much better catch percentage, much lower drop rate than typical. So if he can ever get that kind of thing going, he's a guy that could be a legitimate receiver in this league for a long time come with the physical tools he has there. So edge, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it, Ben Whitley also made the roster as well. That one's a little bit of a shocker to me there. I didn't think he was going to make it there, but let's be honest, it's a very thin edge room we got, guys. And I think it probably came down to him and Timon Fox, who was cut earlier, and it was probably, let's try to figure out, who we're going to keep of these two. And they kept the guy that was younger, which usually is where you go with that kind of stuff. If you don't know which way you're going to go, to try to keep somebody you want to develop, you're going to typically go with the younger guys because a better chance of developing and not having reached his potential yet. Tight end Chris Manhertz was also seen at practice. I know there's a lot of people that didn't think he was going to make that roster. Guys, I don't know why we thought that. Our offensive line has been an issue for how long? This is a legit, solid blocking tight end. When you need to put somebody on, one of the sides there, left or right, to that point, to give a little help out during a particular play, be almost like a sixth offensive lineman there, a third tackle. That's what Manhertz does. He really is not a guy that you're going to see catch the ball. Basically, between him and Jack Stahl to be the blocking tight end role. It looks like Manhertz is one out, which is what we expected there. Dante Johnson was also seen. I know some people were a little concerned because the injury that cut him out of the roster. Does that mean the Giants are going to go look elsewhere? But no, he's been kept on. Also, Matthew Adams, the linebacker who we signed from the Browns last year, who is a just absolute, special team ace. He's probably the best special teamer we will have on this roster. He was also seen along with the other linebacker, special team ace, Carter Coughlin, who was also seen at practice as well. So a couple of special teams guys we're keeping around with the emphasis on special teams there. While still the weird thing is there's still the question of who's going to be the kicker, kick returner, punt returner on this team now, because McKenzie's now gone. That was a guy we looked at as a possible option. Gunnar Olszewski's been injured. We don't know if he's going to be healthy now. So we'll have to see what happens here, guys. But we got to talk to you about the fact that Tommy DeVito has been announced by head coach Brian Dable has made the roster. Guys, I know some people were a little shocked by this. We're not. We talked about this last week. Assistant GM Brandon Brown has mentioned the fact that Tommy DeVito was probably going to be on the roster. He didn't just flat out say it, but he alluded to it as almost obvious as possible. So congrats for Tommy DeVito. We get to see a little bit of hand gestures around the stadium here, at least for a little bit. We'll see what happens in the long term. Obviously, this is a guy that a lot of people have a big fandom for there at that point. They think he's better than Daniel Jones, some people even. I don't necessarily think that. I think neither one of them is a legit starting quarterback in this league. But DeVito's an interesting guy because I think he could develop into a legit backup in this league. And while that's not the starting quarterback we need, it's still something, and you still need a good backup in this league. So hopefully that's the way he does develop. Hopefully he stays around for a little while because it's a good story. Everybody loves it. So a lot of Giants work going on. I'm sure a lot of will be going on down the next 24, 48 hours as well. So we'll keep you guys up to date as best we can. We're trying to come on with the videos to let you guys know. Unfortunately, Rob and I's schedule just hasn't worked out today for us both to be on. He's at work. Stupid work. So luckily I had off today. So I'm trying to keep you guys up to date as best we can as moves keep going there. So anything else happens, we will let you guys know as soon as we possibly can go on. So appreciate you guys for listening. And as always, we are typically live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. Like I said, we're probably going to go back onto Instagram and Twitter soon as well for live streams as well. So we typically do live streams at least 3 times a week, if not 4. So keep an eye out. Typically it's been Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but that's going to be probably changing soon with the season beginning here shortly. We'll let you guys know the new schedule we know. If you like the program, first off, thank you. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give a share, hit the bell on YouTube there, guys. Spreading the word is something we count on you guys for. We'll admit freely, we're horrible at marketing. We are horrible at it. So appreciate you guys if you give us some help with that as well. So we'll see you guys later. Like I said, as soon as any other news comes out and we can get on here, one of us, either Rob and I, or maybe both of us, will pop on to let you guys know what's going on there. Appreciate you guys for watching as always. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man!
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.